his uncle. Prayers out.
Calvin. Good morning.
Morning.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Can you give an update real quick?
Sure.
If Barnes can go today or not?
Yeah, Jalen Thompson will be working back into practice. Zion still on track. A little bit of time still. Jay-Sean Barham's got a groin, will not practice today. Nothing serious. Bullard will not practice today, got a groin. Devin Moore will not practice, has a groin. And then Malik Hooker is excused for a personal matter.
I guess today's practice will be kind of broadcast everywhere. How do you kind of manage things like that, getting your work done, and also being aware that one of your opponents might be able to watch?
Yeah, you know me. I think at the end of the day, I don't worry about that stuff too much. Calvin, I mean, we all have each other's playbooks. We all know, what we run. We have videos going back decades that we can pull up. It's not like they're showing it like from a game standpoint. The camera's on, it's moving. Are there things you can get? Yeah, but we get the same thing. So that doesn't bother me.
Have you always been that way? I don't know, like in Seattle, New York, you were like, I don't think it was different there.
Yeah, the answer is no. I've not always been that way. I think, my dad was definitely like, absolutely not. I think it's more as I've gotten older and been around it and understanding. And, look, we like eyes on us with the Cowboys. It's a good thing. We're proud of our brand, and it doesn't bother me. Hell, everybody's on Hard Knocks now anyway, so at some point or another.
Todd Archer with ESPN, since he already took Clarence's injury questions.
He did.
I'm out as the second one.
Yep.
DaRon Bland, does it look like he's moving better than he has?
I think he feels good. I think he really does. I definitely think he's playing with the confidence that he had a couple years ago. I think, he's really taken to the fundamentals and the scheme, but just really the way DA, Derek Ansley and those guys are coaching him. You see him flashing with the quick decisions and the quick breaks and the PBUs, and but I really like watching him too with the crack replaces, coming up and filling on runs and things like that. So, but I think DaRon looks great.
With downs, you've talked about you have to be a guy that holds up at the point. How does a guy do that when a guy like either Guyton or Tyler Smith is coming out into, like, there's a pretty big size difference?
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things when you run some of those things that we have where he's got to fit the gaps. Every once in a while you're going to run into an unfavorable matchup. But it's no different than if you're a safety or a corner and a big back like Derrick Henry gets out in space. It's like, okay, this might hurt a little bit, but I got to get him down. So really good collision the other day against Tyler Smith for Caleb.
Thomas showed it with the Athletic. Last practice, you guys did some 7-on-7 work, and Sam Howell was working with the first team receivers. Dak was on the other side of the field. What was the purpose behind that?
Yeah, when you do 9-on-7, you guys know how much I love 7-on-7. It's my favorite, drill. That's why we do it so much. But no, really the emphasis was 9-on-7, and we wanted Dak to go down there because that was the premium emphasis. And, Sam was just getting the reps along with Joe, and it's good for those guys to hear a different voice, every once in a while, because, Dak is obviously very well known, but Sam's a little bit new and different, and I thought he did a really good job with that. But the priority of the drill was 9-on-7, and that's why Dak was down there.
You go back a few years to that playoff loss to the Packers, and really the last 2 years, I don't know if you sense this or not, but the fan base a little frustrated. I think some of the attendance showed out here at training camp, but it seems like this year there's a lot of positive momentum. I was just wondering if you can feel that at all.
Number one, I love the fans, whether there's one here or 1,000 or 5,000. I love it because I think our players feed off that. I think it's great. I think we had a really cool chance to, do a high five line with the veterans that were here the other day. Very appreciative of what they do for our country. But, we don't practice just for the fans. We practice for each other. But when I tell you the fans give us a lot of juice, a lot of energy, and there should be excitement, we're putting a lot of positive, high expectations out there. That's what we expect from ourselves, and I think that they feel that, and I think they feel the energy and the chemistry of this football team coming together.
Nick Harris, 4-Star Telegram. Where's Malachi Lawrence right now in his development from things that y'all wanted him to work on coming in and where he is right now?
Yeah, getting better. It's a good question, Nick. I think the big thing with Malachi, smaller school. The first step, speed and agility and things like that, it still flashes, but he's learning how to play a different defense. A few of these guys that have played in a Saban type defense, which has ties to R3-4, gap and a half, fallback, all that stuff. Malachi really hasn't. So every day's been a little bit different for him. But I love his first step quickness, and I love the way he's setting the edge. So I think he's going to be a guy that we're going to watch it. Maybe he doesn't make the big leaps, like a Caleb where he just jumps off because he's been on there. But like Malachi's a guy I see getting better steadily every single day. And you do that over these next 4, 5, 6 weeks. And I think he'll be ready to go come the regular season.
And because of that, is he trending toward being more of a B+, B- guy?
Yeah, we haven't finalized that. But, yeah, I imagine you'll see him play some in the preseason.
Tommy Yarsh, DallasCowboys.com. You guys brought in Zach Kuntz and Jay-Sean Corbin. What do you like about both of those guys?
Yeah, so, we put Jay-Sean through a workout with a couple other backs yesterday. Liked some of his quickness, some of his twitch, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. Really excited about the competition in the running back room after Javonte with Jaden and Phil and Malik and those guys, but we liked his twitch, and he's got some special teams value, which is a good thing. That's always going to be a big part of what we're doing. And Zach is one of those F-type tight ends, matchup type guy that's been around a little bit, coming out of Old Dominion, and you see some quickness and pass catching ability that we like.
What have you made of your tight end room behind Jake with Brevin, Schoonmaker, and the 2 UDFAs, and now with Zach?
Yeah, well, we all kind of know Fergie. We know Brev is really developing. He's always been a tough ass. He's always been a guy with incredible play style, but as we know, he's developing his ability in the passing game, which is huge. Scooney, I think I've raved about for the last 2 off seasons and into training camp, how much better he's learned to take care of his body with his routine. And, he is really a 3-down tight end that can do a lot of things in the running game. He's got great vertical speed. There's things that we can use him and will use him on differently this year than we did maybe in years past. And then, the 2 young guys, you watch Trigg in one-on-ones and, he's basically uncoverable because that's what it is. Now, he's swimming a little bit like most of these young guys do, especially when you come from that Baylor-type offense, which is very different than ours. But the talent jumps off. And DJ Rogers has been outstanding. He's made 2 or 3 plays every day in both running game and passing game that gets you excited. So, it just L-Dub has a way, man. We keep bringing in guys for L-Dub, and he just develops them. So shout out to Coach Wells.
Hey, Coach. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. A lot is being said as far as your backup running back battle. Jaden Blue, Phil Maffa, Israel, and, of course, Malik Davis, obviously your holiday killer. Yesterday, you guys worked out 3, settled on Jay-Sean Corbin. Can you just talk about what made him stand out from that group of 3 you worked out, and what does he bring to an already kind of heated backup running back battle?
Yeah, and I should have said because Iz has been doing a great job as well in that running back competition. Patrick, the big thing is this guy has been exposed to a lot of different systems. We've done a good job of finding guys that have played meaningful snaps in the UFL, and we like the workout a lot. He caught the ball well out of the backfield. He has quick twitch, very bright. One of our coaches has been around him, so the type of young man you're getting. Because, it's hard, for a guy like Zach and for Jay-Sean, when you come in a little bit late, you've missed 5 installs. So you want guys that have the ability to learn, because if they can't learn, how are they supposed to go play against Seattle here in a week from today? So that was part of it. So we worked out a couple guys. They all had pretty good workouts. Then we took them into the classroom, and we ended up thinking that Jay-Sean was the best for us.
Dallas Morning News. Jake Ferguson's average depth of target last year was pretty much lower than he's kind of put on tape for the last couple of years. How much of that was credit to maybe a little bit of instability at left tackle and needing to help out there at the snap and then get out? And what have you seen from him just this training?
Yeah, Jake's obviously had a great year last year. He scored a bunch of touchdowns. The year before, I think it was 1, maybe 0. Was it 0? Yeah. So, a guy that Dak ultimately just has all the confidence in the world in. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. I think it's the evolution of Jake, where, you know, he can hurt you vertically, but, you know, understanding. We used him a little bit more in some, you know, get back on track situations with little intermediate routes and choice routes and things like that. But, you know, again, nothing to do with the protection. We have a protection plan every week going in based on who we're playing. And part of being the play caller is if the protection's good, that play sheet looks awesome. Like you can call anything. If the protection's a little bit leaky, then you got to adjust and change some things. But that's got nothing to do with how we use Jake.
Very open-ended question here, but has there been a play so far where you're watching film that you look back, you maybe didn't see on the field live, but you look back in the film, you're like, man, that really stuck out to you or jumped out?
This is very open-ended. You know, I keep going back probably too, and I did notice it, but it was a great play. The competition between DaRon Bland and Flournoy in the red zone, the little skinny post that we ran, and they were both kind of had their hands on it, and you know, Flo was able to pull it out. And I'll say this: I think, you know, watching the defensive line in general last practice rush the quarterback got me really excited.
Louis Scruggs, NBC5 Dallas. Coach, is there anything that you take from Steve Spurrier as you've gone into this second year of being a head coach that you use it all? I know you've spoken about Pete and you've spoken about your father. What about Coach Spurrier?
Yeah, you know, number one, by far the greatest play caller I've ever been around. I mean, he really was. I mean, I got a chance to witness it week in and week out. You know, his ability to call plays, he was tremendous. I think his biggest influence on me was use of personnel, use of your people. What I mean by that is we were obviously really, when we won the national championship, but we had Ike Hilliard, Reedell Anthony, Jaquez Green, Fred Taylor was our running back, Chris Doring the year before. But what was really cool for me as a backup quarterback down there was watching how each week he would find a favorable matchup and move the pieces around to find the best matchup, whether it was, you know, Jaquez Green's speed against a slower DB, whether it was Ike Hilliard's ability to change direction, whether it was, you know, Reedell Anthony's ability to get deep. It was really cool for me as I look back and as we do it now, try to move our pieces around because we've got some really good pieces as well with our skill guys, and that's probably his biggest influence on me.
Someone once told me that Spurrier could think for his quarterbacks during a game. What do you say to that?
Totally. I think, you know, like I've mentioned this before, I think when you grow up in that generation where you called your own plays as a quarterback, you know, I think you learn the skill. I mean, you're getting reps on the job. I think he knew, like Danny, for example, one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time, didn't have the strongest arm, but the anticipation. So what did we become really good at? We threw corners really well. We threw fade routes really well. Like, he wasn't asking Danny to throw certain deep balls and stuff that we do here, taking shots and stuff. And so I think it's more of knowing the quarterback and utilizing their skills. Shane Matthews was different than Terry Dean. Terry Dean was different than, you know, Danny Werfel. I certainly sucked, so I wasn't very good. So he let me hand it off. That was cool. You know, literally, that's a great story. He said in practice, he goes, "Shotty, I got a good one for you, my man. Get in there." I was like, "Yeah." Buckled my straps up, went running in there. And he goes, "Trips right, 40 draw." Started laughing. I was like, "Oh, great." And then he took me out the next play. So he knew the strengths of his players. I had a good cadence. I handed the ball off well, and so that's what he did. But that one stung a little bit.
I'm not sure how I'm supposed to follow that up. But
Yeah. You like the voice too, huh? I could always. Hey, they always made me do the voice because I had it down.
Jonah Javad, WFAA, a lot of family members I've seen in attendance throughout camp, a lot today. Just the benefit of having that kind of support system, because these guys are so entrenched for weeks, right, and working towards the season and the goal, but maybe having that family element maybe takes some of the stress or pressure off. Just can you explain what benefits there are to that? Maybe.
Well, you can't preach brotherhood and family in your building with your team and not include the ones that you love that are not in the building. And so it's something that, my wife Jimmy and I, when we, we always said when we get our shot to do it, we were going to make sure the families were loved, the families were felt, were a part of it. And that's why we do a lot of things we do even during the season on Saturday mornings when they can come and be a part of, things that we do. And then we have a big lunch and kind of break bread because I want to spend time with them. But we all leave at some point. We work crazy hours. We all leave at some point, but we want the people that are outside of our four walls of the Star to feel very much a part of it. And I think, we work really, really hard as an organization. We as a family, my wife, myself, I know the Joneses, to make sure people know that they're a cherished part of the organization, even though they're not coming to the building every day.
I mean, historically, do guys seem to get a little bit more up knowing that families in attendance and they want to kind of...
I think so. Yeah, I might throw a few balls today. My wife's going to be out of practice. just bring the old gunslinger out, and just, kind of turns her on when I throw the ball, So, hey, you never know. You guys see me throwing some pat and go today, maybe? I don't know. But, yeah, I think so. They don't get a chance to see us do this very often. So when they do, I think there's always a little bit of extra juice.
Call a draw?
I'm not. As the play caller, I'm going to throw pat and go.
Brad Sham, Cowboys Radio 105.3 The Fan. Two guys I'd like your thoughts on. Julius Wood, what do you remember about him from 2 years ago, and what has he given you out here? The other one is Valdez Scantling. What did you hope to see from him by bringing him in, and what's he given you?
Well, first thing I'm going to say about Julius, I'm really proud of him. He wrote a book. He put a book out there. And I'm so proud of him for that. But what I remember is last year feeling like he didn't have a great grasp of what we were doing, Brad. And I remember talking to him and asking him, and he admitted, he goes, "Hey, Coach, yeah, I'm X percentage of what I know." And I was like, you can't be like that, And this year he's been awesome, And what jumps off the film is the physicality, the ability to, fill gaps and hit people. But yeah, I'm just really, really proud to see his evolution. And like I said, really cool that we put the book up in front of the team, and hopefully his sales have skyrocketed. And then MVS, the speed, the veteran, there's nothing that he hasn't seen. He's learning the system. He's great with the young players. He's great in the meetings. But the speed, it's the speed that jumps out. You just feel that. And, Terp's got speed. MVS has speed. Not the GP, CD or slow. Flow. But you need that. You need to create horizontal layers in a defense, and so that's the biggest thing that jumps out at me about him.
Eric Williams, Fox Sports. Coach, you have Rams in a joint practice in a couple of days. How important are those reps for your defense with all the changes that you've made, being able to go against Stafford and those kind of players, and it gets my day off? Yeah,
I think it's really important. I think it's the first competition that you would say non-Cowboy related, so I think it'll be good to go against other guys. Sean and his staff do a heck of a job, obviously offensively. They've got weapons, but again, we're not going to do everything. We're not going to show everything, but I want to see these guys play. I want to see the same passion, and play style that they exude every day against our guys out there. I want to see it do it against them, but it's a building block. It's another ramp up. You go from the Rams practice, then you play a preseason game, then you come back, camp keeps going, you got the Saints, and then you got the Cardinals, then we break camp, then you go back, and then so it's going to be fun to go against a really talented team and see how our guys compete.
How has Overshawn dealt with the physicality of the position he's got, dealing with guards and that kind of thing?
Yeah, really well. Again, it's something that we all can continue to get better at, the block destruction part of it, playing with your length. Again, because when you strike, we call it peak. You got to strike in gap and a half. You peak to see if the ball's coming into your gap, and if it's not, if it bends back, then you have to shed. But he's still learning that technique. But in terms of the ability to pop and bend and use his lower body strength, it's been great to see. He and Hunter Lepke, they're about 5 rounds into a 15-round title fight right now. I don't want to score it because it's pretty close, but they've been popping each other pretty good out there, so that's cool to see.
What's the book about?
It's biblically based, and it's some of his stories and principles that he believes in.
And then you have 3 guys with groin injuries. I don't know if that's just what happens in the camp, or are you guys looking at, hey, what's going on here?
No, I think it's part of the deal. And like I said, most of these are very minor. Like a lot of these guys, if it was game week, they'd be playing. But because it's training camp and we've got time, we're just being smart.
On the Spur, you're talking about quarterbacks who call plays. Why did that go away? And why doesn't that happen anymore? And in 2-minute situations, are quarterbacks largely calling it on their own anyway?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer to the first question, Todd, about why it went away. I don't know. I really don't know. It'd be a good thing to research. Yeah, in 2-minute, everybody's a little bit different. Here, Dak and I kind of work together on it, and we have a plan going in, and I make a lot of suggestions. He's certainly got the ability to wave me off on certain things. And what I believe now is most quarterbacks in today's game, they like to have a starting point given to them. Hey, Schotty called XYZ. Then they can adjust things at the line of scrimmage, as opposed to them having to think of, okay, I want 11 personnel, I want 21 regular, whatever. Hey, I want to be in 3-by-1. Like, I think because offenses are so much more sophisticated now, that it's not as simple as when Steve was playing and they were in pro formation, slot formation, 2-by-2, and there was 20 plays in the playbook. I mean, you've got 150, 200 variations of plays now. That it's a lot. Even when you're looking at a sheet of paper, for me, a guy's done a long time, you're like, whoa, we got a lot of offense. So that's probably why.
Good.
Good. Thanks, guys.